Hello guys and welcome from Frankfurt today with the review about the Canon 500mm f5.6. We will test this lens out on the Canon EOS 5D Mark IV and the Canon EOS 1DX Mark II. I was in Frankfurt at the tower, which is at the airport where the ATC guy sits, and I was spotting from there, so enjoy this review, and if you have any questions state a comment below, and there are some example pictures in the description below as a download link, so make sure to check them out as well.
We start right away with the provided hard case by Canon. You start getting these cases with the 200mm f2.0 lens. It's ideal for transportation and it's well adapted to the 500mm lens. It has one big advantage, so as one big disadvantage as well. The best part is that you won't come to the stupid idea to roll this case over a rough surface. Disadvantage is pretty clear, I guess. It does get heavy after a while. To follow a logical flow, we continue with all the features you have with this lens. The lens itself looks more heavy than it actually is. The total weight is just 3.2 kilograms, which is nearly 7 pounds. Compared to the size, it's super easy for outdoor shooting and wildlife. We did not use a tripod during this review at all, and at the end of the day, neither Roberto nor I did suffer from any back pain. If you plan using a filter for this lens, such as an ND filter, you will need a 52mm drop-in filter, like you have it with all other super telephoto lenses like the 600mm and the 800mm. There is a video about these two lenses on my channel, make sure to check them out. The front element is so huge that there is an external cotton-like protection for it. Additionally, you get a nice and robust carrying strap, and if you'd like to place your lens on top of a tripod, you benefit from the included tripod mount. You can stop down to f32, and to reduce any light from passing into the lens, just use the lens hood, which costs you nearly 400 euros if you lose it. There are a couple of switches around the lens for the image stabilizer to change it from autofocus to manual focus and to set the focusing distance. By the way, the closest focusing distance is at 3.7 meters, which is nearly 12 feet. Turning the focus ring gives you a great and comfort resistance. Our last point I forgot to mention is that the dust and splash protection is part of this lens as well. We continue right away with the image stabilizer, which does a really good job. I personally would say as soon as you have a focal length which goes over 200mm, you definitely need an image stabilizer. I bet no one out there is taking photos handheld during low light situations, except for sport photographers in a big stadium. You will really need the image stabilizer while taking videos of animals or football stars, or to compensate any vibrations while standing on a bridge where you have a frequent flow of traffic. The built-in image stabilizer provides you up to 4 stops longer exposure times. I provided a couple samples for your private use in the description below for download. How is the comfort with this lens? As you might see, it does not fit in every camera bag, and you can't hide this lens from others. But if you really need to carry this lens from A to B, it does not hurt too much because of the light weight, and you draw the attention of all other people to yourself. Next topic is about the really impressive looking front element. Nope. We take a closer look at the performance when it comes to lens flare. Of course, I can continue to watch the front element forever, just because it looks quite impressive, but this is not part of the review. Just because I don't really see any of these flares, which might drive some of you crazy, probably means that the glass quality of this lens is just superb. I really tried to catch some disturbing light, but I don't see any of that. Now we deal with the vignetting. If you don't know what vignetting is, I make it simple for you. These are the great edges around a photo which do appear when you shoot wide open. To highlight them, I simply place the camera with the lens towards a bright background. As you can see, shooting at f4, you will suffer from these dark corners a lot, but as soon as you stop down to 6.3, they nearly disappeared completely. Make up your own mind, I will provide these files for your personal need. The link is in the description below. The next and one of the most important topics of this review is about the sharpness of the 9,000 euro lens. There has been a lot of improvement compared to the previous lens, the Mark I version. Shooting at a maximum aperture of f4 will give you already a clear and sharp image. The only way how it will get sharper will be if you take the Canon EOS 5D Mark IV or the 5DSR instead of the 1DX Mark II that I was using during the day, except for the photos taken from the tower in Frankfurt later in this review. This time the bokeh of the 500mm lens will be discussed a bit earlier than at the end, because best part will be a visit of the tower at Frankfurt Airport. The closer you get to all of your subjects and models, the more you benefit from the stunning bokehness of the Super Telephoto lens. You can get as close as 3.7 meters, which is 12 feet. 9 aperture blades will give you a great and round looking bokeh. If you use the 500mm f4 lens in combination with the Canon EOS 1DX Mark II, you probably won't have too much to worry about while shooting in hours of darkness. I can imagine using this lens for sport, videography and reportages. I'm really interested to know if any one of you is using this lens already. If yes, for what are you using this lens mainly? There's a lot of space under this video for any comments. I bet there are many people out there who don't really know how close you can get with a 500mm lens. Therefore, we invested a bit of time to compare the 500mm lens with the 70-200mm lens by Canon. Of course, the 70-200mm lens is better when it comes to fast aperture and travel comfort. But the 500mm lens will give you the shot you need when it comes to documentaries and sports. Imagine yourself being a wildlife reporter for BBC, spending hours in the mountains to spot the snow leopard. That's why you need a 500mm lens. When it comes to bokeh on both lenses, you don't need to worry about anything. The bokeh balls should be a bit more ball-like on the 500mm lens because it's equipped with 9 instead of 8 aperture blades, like you have it on the 70-200mm lens. Which bokeh do you prefer? I bet if you are not using this lens for spotting or sport, you will use it for wildlife, don't you? If I'm wrong, write a comment below for what occasion you're using this lens. In Frankfurt am Main, which means Frankfurt at the Main River, not to be confused with Frankfurt Hahn or Frankfurt Oder, there are not many options to take great wildlife shots except in the local zoo. Anyways, to give you some examples, we went down to the Main River to take some shots of these funny birds. I recommend using some of the AF presets of your DSLR to take advantage of a precise and fast autofocus. The lens itself is dust and moisture resistant, so as the 1DX Mark II or your Canon EOS 5D Mark IV for great wildlife shots. Even I made some examples, I'm not really into wildlife or sport photography. But I do love aviation. That's why I went to the best place to spot aircraft at Frankfurt's International Airport. I was so close to all these aircraft with the 500mm lens that I decided to take a couple of shots with the Canon 8-15mm fisheye and the 24-105mm lens as well, to give you a variety of focal lengths to make up your own mind which lens fit the most to your gear. If you are closer than 1 kilometer to one of these aircraft, you might find yourself spotting the pilot's face instead of the whole scenario. But if you can't get closer than 1 kilometer, the lens is just great. I was taking photos for more than 2 hours without being exhausted by the weight, just because the lens is super light compared to its size. Make up your own mind with a couple samples, which I put in the description below. The last topic before we get to the final conclusion about the 500mm lens is about sport photography. I did not went to a football match today to give you the best examples, but I thought a motivated biker will do the job as well. I took these shots at the European Central Bank in Frankfurt with the Canon EOS 1DX Mark II. Most of these shots were taken at a distance of more than 100 meters. If you can get closer to your sport role models, you're probably gonna struggle a bit of finding them through your viewfinder because you're too close to get the entire person in focus. Nevertheless, if you maintain a bit of distance with the correct AF setting, you will take stunning and sharp sport photos with an outstanding blur background. With all the provided examples, I still find this lens best for wildlife photography, and personally, I would limit the focal length to 400mm for sport photography. Time for a conclusion. The 500mm lens is a great piece of glass for wildlife and sport photography. If you need a stunning lens as a wildlife filmer, it's probably one of the best lenses to have for your pocket, which lasts for the next 10 to 15 years. It has a dust and moisture protection, so as your high quality body, such as your 1DX or 5D Mark IV. If you know how to use the AF settings of your camera correctly, you will get stunning detail shots in combination with this lens. The bokeh is fabulous, even at a maximum aperture at f4. I was really impressed about the good working image stabilizer during video recording. Thanks to all of you for watching and your suggestions. I also made a review on Canon's 800 and 600mm lens, so make sure to check them out on my channel as well. Many thanks to Canon Germany for this lens. If you would like to buy this lens at a local store, it's available at Frankfurt's best camera store, GM Photo, near Frankfurt Airport. Thanks to Roberto, and don't forget to subscribe. See you and tschüss from Germany. Bye bye.